A falling out between friends, epic, crazy, chilling encounters, and oh my gosh, the betrayal of the century. It's time to shed some light and darkness on the Cloak and Dagger After Show on AfterBuzz TV.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Yes, it's Thursday, which means Cloak and Dagger Day. I'm so happy to be back with my fabulous panel of women who held it down last week and killed it.
We missed you.
Oh, I missed y'all.
Did.
It was just not the same
It
being
wasn't.
not with you guys. Or ladies, women. They are women, and I love them so much. What's up, AfterBuzzers? I am your host, Ollie Drennan, and I'm joined by Karla Beltran. But first, Karla and fellow panelists, I have a question for you. Since in the spirit of Endgame this weekend, as you introduce yourselves, or I introduce yourself, what do you want? What are you excited about Endgame? Karla Beltran?
I'm actually excited to see all the characters come back to life. I mean, I don't know if that happens. No, this is not a spoiler.
No spoilers.
I don't know if this is... I have not seen the movie yet. I'm going to watch the movie tomorrow, but I'm really excited to just kind of see everybody come back. I like when Spider-Man passed, I was like, oh, Spider-Man.
That one hurt.
That one hurt, yeah.
Well, he's right here, so.
I'm excited
back.
to get him back.
Absolutely, and Miss Drew Jones. Okay, Drew's already seen it.
Yeah.
But
I was gonna say,
pretend.
I saw it Tuesday night, and I'm excited. Spoilers. No, I'm just kidding. I am excited to get. I've been getting texts from like my friends on the East Coast who are seeing it, and they're like, "Oh my god!" And so I'm excited to keep getting those texts because I like seeing everyone's reaction to it.
Yes. And Miss Steph Sabraw, what about you, girl?
Wow. I just want to know what happens to Thanos. Like, I really have just been thinking about it long and hard, and I just want to know. But
Yeah.
I've heard the best, without spoilers, I've heard that it's amazing, so I'm just excited.
He
Yeah.
cashes in his 401k, and that's the only
He
spoiler I'm
retires.
giving you.
I love it. I love it. Well, enough about Endgame. We got to talk about this crazy episode.
Cool, child.
Episode 5 of Season 2 of Cloak and Dagger Alignment Chart. We're going to talk about Tandy and Tyrone because they were the meat and potatoes, as Drew would say, of this episode. I was bummed that we didn't have a whole lot of Brigid or Mayhem, but that's totally fine. They'll come back. But initial thoughts of this episode. What did you guys think?
I think it was a lot of information and a lot of different, like, two different storylines to kind of all take in at once.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, like, it kind of felt like we were going to have this more, I mean, and I'm still sticking firm to my prediction of last week, but it kind of felt like we were going to have, like, this mystical big bad, but I like how, like, we kind of feel like, oh, it's going to be supernatural, and then, like, they hit us with, no, humans are garbage.
Yeah.
And I liked the whole, like, you know, the bad guys are right here in front of us type approach that they went in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I felt so angry, especially at the ending of it, because it's exactly what we were talking about. The topic in general of sex trafficking makes me enraged, and then see my girl Tandy taken. No, we can't let this happen. I wanted to jump into the ambulance truck, but I agree that I like that the way that they're taking the villain. We really don't even know. Now we know that obviously the counselor, who I started to think I didn't trust her from a while, but I felt bad saying it, but that's who will get you.
Yeah.
She, the actress was on this show called Greek that was on
ABC.
ABC Family, you know, Freeform's prior former self. And she was a raging biatch on that show.
Wow.
I loved her, but she was a raging biatch on that show. So when she was on this one, I was like, I don't know if I trust you.
Oh.
Just a little typecasting.
just
you know.
because I remember you on Greek.
I really enjoyed so far in this particular season that it's kind of like the metaphor of like the boys club. It's boys only, and we're seeing like a physical manifestation of Tandy and Mayhem like really actually like infiltrate a boys club like physically. So I just really been enjoying that. But before we talk about Tandy, we got to get to Tyrone. Because Tyrone, oh my gosh, he had so much, lots of weight on his shoulders in this episode. Because obviously he's someone who doesn't he's never really trusted, you know, the cops ever since what happened to his brother, and especially having to quote unquote trust Connors. And also on top of that, him just being a young black man on top of that. So what were your kind of thoughts on Tyrone's path and learning to trust Connors now that he's out of the dark dimension? Apparently has like turned a new leaf.
I think we've seen it a lot. I mean, we've seen it in the news, and we've seen so many times where like racist behavior is like retaliated with like a sense of being the bigger person. Michelle Obama always says like when they go low, we go high, and I thought it was really beautiful to see how not only Tyrone handled it, but his parents, his dad. You know, had a really interesting conversation with him about like what exactly does justice mean, and I just thought it was really well done, and I kind of, even though I don't like Connors and I still don't trust Connors, I do like the idea of redemption and like growth from people and their wrongdoings. So
the justice metaphor really hit hard and hit well, I think, for this show and this particular issue, because justice, especially as minority groups and Black Americans, oftentimes that is a really blurred statement. We don't really know what justice means because the justice we uphold in our courts isn't oftentimes reflective of what humans consider justice. And on the flip side, the Viper story only felt like it resonated for me at the end when she was talking about Tyrone, because Tyrone really is such a respectable character, and he's been the one carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders so well. And the only time he kind of almost snapped was when he was gonna kill him at the church, but then saw his emotions and was able to conceptualize it in that moment, and that was so strong of him.
Yeah.
Carla, what did you think?
Well, I think that he handled it very well. I think if it would have been any other person, they probably could have went against him and just been like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe you've done all of this. You used the same, he used the same, is it the chainsaw? The one that he used
like
it
the
for.
hacksaw.
Yeah, the hacksaw. Like for him to kind of like confess to him, and for the way that Tyrone basically responded, it was very like mature of him. And we saw this other side of Tyrone when he didn't just like react. He kind of like, he thought about everything and he went for help. You know, if he would have taken it into his own hands, he probably wouldn't have gotten the ending that he did. And he was like, you know what, I'm gonna go to my father for advice, and then I'm gonna go to my mother for advice, which I think is probably like the best thing that he could have done. And I think that was like handled perfectly, because his parents were like, they were going to handle it the right way. Not that he didn't, but I think that he did the right thing.
Right. I mean, like Steph, you brought up the Viper and the farmer story, which I love how that was like intertwined throughout the episode, kind of like a snake, and how we're like questioning, you know, Tyrone, he's the farmer, but then, so Connors is the snake, and my snake is like been in the cold, which has kind of been like the dark dimension. So I just thought that was so interesting to really kind of think about. And then obviously we got to the end where he almost killed Connors, and he really thought about it like you said. And so that was him not becoming the Viper. That was him maintaining kind of being the farmer that he is, because the farmer is the best part of you, as not Olivia, I want to say Olivia, Tandy was stating in her like dream like hope sequence, which was just a lot to take in.
Tyrone's very interesting to me because I feel like he's such a well-developed character, and especially for us only being in season 2, I always kind of wonder, because like I really like the messed up characters. They're my favorite ones to watch.
Right.
Like Tandy's really interesting to watch because like she has to develop as a character. Like by the laws of a TV show, she has to evolve into like this better version of herself. Tyrone is already kind of like top notch. So I'm interested to see where that kind of almost makes me nervous, because like I'm like, are you going to like kind of like digress and like become less of who you are because of like, you know, the unjust way of the world, or are you going to continue like to prevail? Joe Pikowski posted one of those like alignment charts.
I saw that.
And if you haven't seen it, it's on his Twitter. I think Allie Maki also posted it on her story. I think they all put it on their stories, but one of the writer's assistants made it, and it says that Tyrone is a lawful good, and I think that's so true. Like he really is just like good, like inherently good, and they say Tandy's chaotic good, which
is interesting when we see the end and he's in a cop outfit.
Yeah.
That's kind of playing off that same idea.
Yeah.
I was like,
You know,
whoa.
she's just the Jessica Jones of, you know, this universe, right? Yeah. That's why we love Jessica Jones. We love those complex characters.
I love Jessica
we also
Jones.
love our Tyrone, of course, obviously.
We also love you guys watching us in the chat, and if you're listening on iTunes, wherever you guys are, we appreciate you guys rocking with us because you are an extended version of our panel. We totally rely on you guys for your insight. Oftentimes we miss stuff that you guys write about, so we really appreciate that. You are making us the ESPN of TV talk, but for us to continue to grow, we just want you guys to do a few things. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, leave us a comment after this video ends, and if you're on iTunes, give us those 5 stars and leave us a review. You know that's extra feisty. We love the reviews. But yeah, just keep up the conversation because it doesn't have to end after the episode.
Absolutely.
We have a whole week to talk to you guys.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Get us in those DMs. Thank you, Steph. And Steph mentioned the 5-star review on iTunes, and that might just get you in the running for winning a giveaway. But stay tuned at the end of the episode because we will tell you all the details on that.
Yes.
So for Tyrone, I was bummed that we didn't see a whole lot of Brigid because, you know, Emma's my girl and everything. We saw a little bit of Mayhem, but I think Tyrone had a really good episode because he knew that he needed help. He needed backup, you know. So he enlisted the help of his father in this episode, and then we learned so much about Connor's really trying to repent, and he tells them he ties him up, and Tyrone Connors gives us basically everything we need. He spills the tea about the Promenade Society, which is basically the rich white folk, okay, back in the day, and they kind of control everything. They control the city. Asa Henderson is his uncle, and so Tyrone needs a file, the Monopoly file, in order to put him and Connors behind bars and to kind of rectify and make everything right.
Yeah, because I think a lot of times when we, especially like in the age of social media, because like we can't pretend like, you know, this violence and whatnot has just happened magically now that Twitter's around. It's been going on forever. It's just now that we have the tools to see it from, you know, anywhere in the world. But I think a lot of times we want to see these people punished for what they're doing, which obviously they should be. But it's almost kind of like you're just like cutting off the head of a many-headed monster. And like a lot of times people have to remember, like, if you want to see these changes, you need to, like, you know, go out and vote. You need to know who are the people in charge. Like, those people are important just because they may not be the face, but they're equally as important because, you know, a lot of times with these police shootings and whatnot, you find out that these people, these officers or whatever, you're like, why did they do this? And you find out they had this whole background of like being switched around from different departments and whatnot because they already displayed this behavior. And it's like, who's doing that? People up above. And it's like, so you have to, I like that it wasn't just a Connors thing.
Yeah. I like that this show is doing that. They're not hitting the people-to-people problems. It's the structural issues, which is why it's so deep and so daunting that I'm like, how are they going to do it?
Exactly.
But I love the part where Connor's just like, I can sing and they won't put me away. You need all of these things to put me away. And the juxtaposition of Tyrone, they don't have any evidence on him, but it's enough to put him away for life. And just their realities being so different and realistic.
And bringing up that system, this quote-unquote law system that you guys are talking about, it's also mirrors Tandy's whole situation about the drug lords and whatnot and how they're handling all the trafficking. And so it just was really fascinating that there are all these key components, all these key players in these corrupt like organizations, and it's just it makes you think. And I know this is kind of like more for predictions, but like, how the hell are these characters going to prevail over this? You know, Mayhem's gonna have to do some dirty work. But yeah, that also brings up, are we know better than them? Should we kill? Should we do something else in order to educate these people? It's just really makes you think.
Not only that, but it also brings up the question, like, do we take justice into our own hands?
Yeah, vigilantism, which is what these characters are. This is what they were in the comics.
Yes.
And again, it brings up the question that Tyrone's dad kind of asked, like, what exactly is justice to you? Because, like, going back to the chart, on the chart, it has Mayhem as lawful evil, where, like, she's not just going out and being evil for no... I don't even want to call her evil, to be honest. She's not going out and causing mayhem for no reason. Like, she has a method behind it, and it's honestly kind of a method, like, her reasoning, I'm like...
That's why Mayhem's such a perfect name for her, because she isn't evil. It's just mayhem. Yeah. But what she wants to get done is just done in a way that's mayhem.
But it's interesting because it makes you, like, what exactly qualifies as justice? What exactly will be enough? Because I know for me losing somebody in a similar situation as Tyrone, like, what, like, I try to think about, like, what exactly would have been good in that. Like, what would be good enough? That person's still gone. Tyrone's brother's still gone. You know, like, would the death of Connors be enough? Would Connors be behind? Like, because at the end of the day, it doesn't bring back the person. So how do you go about it? Like, how do you find, because I think justice and, like, finding peace have to go hand in hand. Like, justice essentially is finding peace about the situation.
How are we going to, what's the proper resolution? And
Yeah.
how is that resolution going to promote change, basically?
Yeah.
That's, like, I don't even know the answer to that question either. It's just really, it's so interesting to kind of talk about and think about, and that's why I love being on this panel with you.
I know, every
Amazing
time
women.
I'm like, light bulb. What were you going to say, Karla?
I was gonna say something, but I don't know if I can say it.
Go for it.
No, please.
One of the things that I just wanted to say, according with like the comment that you were saying about justice and peace, I think that justice and peace can come together, but the peace side is more upon the person, and for the forgiveness of, like, forgiveness takes such a big part in, like, justice and peace with all of it together. So I think, like, I don't know that Tyrone has forgiven Connors for what he did to his brother, but the fact that he didn't just do whatever he thought for justice was, it speaks, like, really highly of him, and that to a certain extent he might be getting to a point of, like, not necessarily, like, acceptance, but to the fact that, like, okay, you did this, but when somebody asks you for forgiveness and they're being honest about it, like, then it, not necessarily that it's on you, but it's your turn for you to, like, do something, you know?
Yeah.
The show is so good. Shout out to Joe Pekowski, because the way that they tie in the stories, and when we break it down, I start to realize things. And when we were talking about what is justice for Tyrone, it was interesting hearing Tandy when she comes out of the growing place that she was at, and she beat them up, and she's like, with these types of people, you have to hit them with what they give. That's the only type of what language they understand, which in this case was violence and
at the end of the
physical
episode.
brute.
Right.
Yeah. And then it just ended up not being that. So it's really an interesting take on what can bring you what you want.
She was like, it was like half right. I felt like she said, you have to choose to fight to not be a victim, which I agree with, to not be a victim. I know that's a huge process though, but and to take away their power. So that's kind of like, I agree with you, but I also, I think it's like how you go about certain things and kind of like, you know, your processing system.
Yeah, and it's sometimes, you do have to fight back, but physically fighting back is not, and I don't believe the answer.
I think it's I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, because I think there are certain points where it's like, you have two cheeks. You can only turn your cheek so many times in certain situations. I'm not pro-violence, but I also think that at a certain point, it's like sometimes you are resorted to that.
Self-defense.
And I don't think I think every situation is different, but even just like with the current state of the country and whatnot, and people are kind of just like, how many marches can we do?
No, it's hard. When oppressed people are oppressed for that long, you can't expect peaceful, peace all the time. I'm just saying you have to assess what you actually are capable of. Yes, Tandy she is a bad mamma jamma, like I said last year. But you have to understand you're not taking down all the dominoes. You're taking down one piece. Yeah. And so although they deserved every piece of it, but it wasn't the solution.
And also, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, also just to quickly, like, Tandy was also by herself. So it's like you can't fix something by yourself. And there's powers in numbers.
My mom always used to tell us growing up, like, if you're gonna get in a fight, you better be prepared to win that fight. Like, she would always be like, don't come home with your ass beat. And I kind of like applying that to this show, like, if you're going to go that route, you need to understand the consequences. You need to understand what could possibly be coming back on you. You know, like, just because you can swing doesn't mean they can't swing harder.
Right.
Yeah. And we kind of saw that, you know.
Tandy almost got jumped.
They could swing harder.
Yeah. And she got, like, pepper sprayed.
Oh, my gosh. I forgot about that. Well, speaking of Tandy, let's move on to her, because she was a little problematic in this episode. And I know we were talking beforehand, the after show started. Tandy, with her mom... I feel like Tandy just has a problem, like, addressing people. She says to her mom, she said, it's not hard to leave people. You just leave. And I'm thinking, no, it's so easy for Tandy to say that because that's what Tandy's always done. She's always left people. She's running away, causing mischief and whatnot, and not really, nothing ever really backfires for her. And I think in this episode, especially getting close to her advisor, Leah, I almost called her Tia, Leah, and kind of learning her story and whether or not how true that was. But I think kind of learning Leah's story about her abuse, I hope that really helped Tandy kind of understand maybe her own mother's abuse and how hard it is to actually leave someone and not to have, someone being abused might be alone. That might be their only person. So maybe that helps Tandy understand where her mom's coming from or how her mom's story was back in the day.
Yeah.
And help her,
I think a lot of people don't understand that domestic violence isn't just a physical thing. It's also a mental and emotional type of abuse.
And almost more so mental.
Yeah. Because, yeah. Exactly. But I kind of felt for Tandy a little bit with the argument with her mom. I was like, girl, you can't say that to your mom. But when she heard her mom went out for a drink, you saw her her complete energy change. And I felt for her because I was like, I can only imagine being thinking things are slowly getting better, and then your mom, who was this known addict and alcoholic, is like, oh yeah, I went out to go have 2 drinks. And even though her mom clearly looks like she's in control seems like she's okay, because in the comics, we've talked about before, I think we talked about last season, one of Tandy's powers is that she's been able to really help people who have addiction issues and whatnot, which they haven't really talked about, but we've obviously seen. So I don't think Tandy's aware of that, but I felt for her when she kind of was a little triggered by that, because it's just I don't want to go down that road again with you.
Nicholas Kelly in the chat said, so wait a minute, you mean to tell me that Leah basically used her position as a counselor and sold out them girls that went to her for help? Now it's Tandy, damn, why girl? That's exactly what happened, and that's what I feared would happen, because we were talking about, these girls are almost always targeted for specific reasons. So being at a counseling place where women are very vulnerable, they've gone through trauma and abuse, is exactly where you'd prey on women. So it makes complete sense. Jeez.
They do background checks at this damn counseling center. Jesus Christ.
Clearly they don't.
I did not see that coming from Leah. I trusted Leah.
I also didn't see it coming.
I was shook by the end of this episode, and so now I sympathize with Leah's character from her backstory, and now nope.
I don't know why Tandy didn't feel her hope. So I thought that's what she was trying to do when she was reaching out for her hands. I'm like, Tandy's the girl who doesn't trust anyone, and now you're gonna trust this. I thought she felt the vibes.
But Tandy was also being selfish in the fact that she was trying to manipulate Leah, who ended up manipulating her, but also manipulate Tyrone.
Good Lord.
That was messed up.
Make Ty, who is black, her abusive, quote-unquote boyfriend, air quotes for podcast listeners, her abusive boyfriend, and try to, make this whole facade in order to find out Leah's ex-boyfriend's location.
And then for her to be taken.
It was such a mess.
That whole situation stressed me out so bad, and I was so upset by it, and I'm glad Tyrone stood up for himself. But what I want to point out is, again, shout out to this amazing crew who really have done the research, because a lot of times with human trafficking, it is women who lure these girls into this, because the women themselves will have been human trafficked. And then it normally is the ones who kind of age out of the system. And
they gain their trust.
And they help them, their attackers.
So
and
they can stop. It's like a deal they make, so they don't have to hit any more numbers, because usually you have to hit a certain number of men that they're forced you to sleep with, and then you're freed. But so she probably did. I mean, that's what happens a lot of times.
Yeah. Which is it makes you sympathize with her character, because this is messed up however you look at it. So it's although I don't trust Leah and I'm disappointed in the situation, I don't think her story is fake, and I think she's also a victim in all of this somehow as well. Good
point.
And this show is also showing just different levels of victims and just different types of victimization, I think. And also it's kind of I think Leah's also doing it as a safety thing too, she's been in the system, and it's almost as if she sees this as no way out. So maybe that's why. I sympathize with her, but I'm also obviously pissed at her for capturing Tandy. So
I can't sympathize. I need to know the backstory, which I hope we get.
Yeah, I sympathize with her, but no, I empathize with her. I don't sympathize with her. I empathize with her.
That's a better way.
But it does bother me that she went. I understand why she went for Tandy. Tandy's putting 2 and 2 together and figuring it out. It's like, you got to get her out of here. But, yeah, I don't know. She's a lot. It's a weird, this is a lot for a show. Yeah. Every time I come into this, I'm like, cool, can't wait to unpackage my own trauma along with this show.
Oh my gosh. But I was here for like the whole fight scene with her taking down all those men, like Eric, her boyfriend. That was awesome.
Wrecking those pot plants. It's like, this feels like a waste.
But yes, our girl, she's taken away. Any more thoughts on Tandy before we move on? Because I'm really sad and depressed a little bit.
Yeah, I actually wanted to say that for this season, I thought that her relationship with her mom was kind of getting better. But after tonight's episode, I don't know how it's actually going to improve, because right now she's not really listening to her mom. You know, she's not really hearing her out. So I think it's kind of hard for us to see that progress move forward without her actually connecting. And honestly, I was kind of really annoyed with her in the beginning, but after what happened to her, it's like, you know, when sometimes there's certain things that you don't even wish on your own enemy. This is kind of one of those things where like, oh, you've been annoying me, but not enough for me to wish for you to be like taken by like the bad people that you've been trying to chase after.
I think a social media influencer once said,
oh gosh.
I'm positive I saw it on one of those, hurt people, and normally I would roll my eyes at that, but I think it applies to this show. I think until Tandy learns how to
cope with her hurt,
cope with her trauma, forgive herself for the things that she's been through, because I think she kind of is angry at herself for like allowing what she thinks is allowing certain things to happen to her. Which we see a lot with rape victims of, oh, I wish I would have done A, B, and C, and and it's like, no,
they just shouldn't have raped, period.
They're rapists. Like, they're garbage. It's not you, sis. Like, you could be fully clothed, you could be sober, you could literally, like, be with all your girlfriends. Like, a rapist is gonna rape, and that's not your fault. And I think until Tandy kind of is able to unpackage that and figure it out, we're gonna constantly see her lash out and hurt other people.
Yeah. She thinks her mom's regressing. I'm like, Tandy, you're kind of regressing too with you manipulating everyone and like doing all this stuff like behind people's backs. So I don't know. Well, we have to get to our special segment, which Karla is taking over this week. Our special segment, what is it, Karla?
You guys, we are getting ready to do Cloaked and Daggered. So we're going to each state our favorite highlight of the show and our low light of the show. So you guys can go ahead, tune into the chat, let us know. Steph will go ahead and read your guys' answers after we all start with saying ours. Yes. So we'll start with Ollie.
Oh no. Okay. Well, my cloaked, that's the highlight, right? Just so everyone knows.
No, your cloaked is your low light.
Cloaked is your low light. So the shadow.
All right.
And then your dagger is the light.
I got it mixed up because the dagger, I just got pictured like getting stabbed. Anyways, cloaked. I just spit. Sorry, y'all. Cloaked. That's my low light is clearly Tandy getting taken away. Like, there's no question that's cloaked. That better be all of yours. No.
Yeah.
And then my daggered was Tandy kicking all those guys' ass. Like, I was here for that scene.
You literally just read off my my highlights. So I'll think of new ones. I'll pass it over to Drew.
Okay, my cloaked. I don't want to say the Tandy one because you said it, but I agree.
Yeah.
My cloaked would probably be the papers not being there.
That was the next one I was about to be.
I'm so sorry. The papers not being there.
That did suck.
Yeah, because I was frustrated. I knew, like, I had a feeling they weren't going to be there, but I was still very frustrated by it.
How do you put a paper in a wine bottle?
Because it was like a fake.
Oh, I was thinking there was wine inside the bottle.
Honestly, that is such a smart idea. Like, I hide papers for some odd reason. I don't know why I do this, but there's like, if there's important papers in my household, I hide them around in different places just because. I don't know why. I mean, in case of an earthquake.
What's your MO, baby?
Honestly, in case of an earthquake or like a fire or something, I don't know how I would be able to save everything. But the whole wine idea is great. That's all I'm saying.
Keep it digital. Keep it on a
That's
file.
my dagger.
And that's my and my dagger would be, I liked seeing Brigid kind of fight for her like self in this episode, to fight to like be her again.
Okay.
Because like I feel like she's been very victim-y the past couple of episodes, and like I can't do this, I can't, and I feel like after Ty kind of like read her for Phil, she was like, all right, I'm gonna try to like be me again. And even when she pulled up the when she was at the gun range and she had the I don't know, I don't shoot guns anymore, but they had like the thing. I have a hunting license.
Me too.
It's expired. But I had one. But like there were shots on like around the person, which was a lot better than like what we saw last episode where there were no shots on the paper. So like she's fighting to get there, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. I agree. Those you always pull the most obscure ones. I'm like, yeah, actually. Okay, I won't say the dagger part, but I do have to say she is full on Super Saiyan. I mean, her being like, just calming,
blinding them.
Yes, so awesome. But I would say, I'm still hoping that Connor's. I really do feel like it's genuine, and that is really. It's still dark, but it's a special moment that. Even though you were sent to the dark dimension, and I wish you honestly were killed instead of that, for you to come out and be remorseful and really feel what you did and see the extent of what you caused. And also to realize that Connors didn't kill him. It was an accident. It was driven obviously by fear and racial bias, but it wasn't like a really malicious murder. Yeah. And then I think my cloak, it has to be Tandy getting taken in the ambulance.
Yeah.
That sucked.
Yeah.
No.
I was like, what?
I didn't like that for her.
No, because they're going to drug her. That's what they do. They drug you. So
we already saw it.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll save it for protection.
Nicholas Kelly says, my highlight was when Tyrone and his father were showing restraint against Connors. Touche. My low light was when Andre didn't realize that his one and only counselor relapsed into her old life.
Damn. That was Michaela.
Unless Andre is a part of it too. Leah.
He could very well be. Oh, Leah or Michaela. Well,
no, Andre is Leah's Leah's a counselor of Andre's program, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's a part of it or not. That's still.
Okay.
I don't think.
Oh, I never even
hope
thought about
not.
that.
I hope not.
Well, I got it, you guys. I had to think about this. But I think my cloaked moment was obviously when Tandy was taken, but also my cloaked moment was finding out that Leah, this person that a lot of these women have been going after for help, she's actually one of the facilitators for human trafficking. So that was kind of like a really cloaked moment. And then my daggered moment was actually when Andre was saying the description and how they described Tandy as an angel and that they saw a shadow, and I thought that was like really nice. So
that was cool.
that was kind of my
I
highlight.
have to read this one.
Oh, gosh.
No, the highlight was Ty in that white polo shirt. He looked so fine.
Wait.
Oh
yeah,
I
the
remember.
white
I was like, white polo.
I think he looked finer in the cop uniform.
What?
I think he did.
I was
Don't
like-
tell me that he didn't look fine.
I was
in
like,
that.
okay, Officer Johnson. Okay. I was like,
So good.
I was like, oh, little baby. In a uniform.
Thank you so much, Karla, for that wonderful special segment of Cloaked and Daggered. I always look forward to that every single week. But now we got to kick it off to Steph for news and gossip.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Yeah.
It's Endgame week, so we had to make it Endgame focused. Of course, with our favorite cast, the cast of Cloak and Dagger. They were at the Avengers Endgame premiere, and so we have some pictures that we're going to pull up because they came to show out.
They did.
Like, I was looking at these pictures. First, Olivia Holt tweeted, # Avengers Endgame. That's it. That's the tweet.
Big mood.
Big mood, you agree? And then we have the main cast there. Ali Maki, of course, serving looks in this orange jumpsuit. Yes. Queen.
Oh my God.
Emma Lahana in this dress. I love it so much. They all
so
look
good.
so good. I loved Olivia's outfit.
Oh my God.
Yes.
It's like this upgraded suit fit.
Come on, Dark Lip.
And then get ready for CLOAK.
Oh my
yes.
Hey, there's the white shirt again.
This is the suit
Okay.
I'm looking for.
I love colored suits.
Yes.
That has nothing to do with the show, but
So much better than a boring black suit.
right.
Yeah.
Right?
You know who else had the same color suit? Chris Evans. So.
Oh my gosh.
Captain
Love-
America, man.
love my
That's my Fantastic Four, just saying.
Yes.
Side note, also on the news, like I said in episode 1 about Ali Malki's Asian American Girl Club, Drew and I didn't know, but today we both wore the merch. So
We're
get your
also
merch.
wearing snake print
Snake print pants.
pants. Like
my
we full blown match
But
today.
go show Mina Hess, aka Ali Malki, some love on AsianAmericanGirlClub.com. Get your merch. Allies are more than welcome.
It's the comfiest t-shirt I've ever worn in my life.
Yeah. What is this, like real cotton?
For real.
I love it. I love
Be
it.
nice.
Was there any more news and gossip?
No, that's
okay.
it.
That's
That's
it.
the end game. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
That's news and gossip. That's it. I love it. Thank you so much for that, Steph. Well, before we get to our predictions, I do want to shout out our giveaway. We're giving away a special comic book, Cloak and Dagger, of course, and it's going to be signed by every one of our guests that stops in. Hopefully it's everyone who's in the show. No. But Ali Maki was obviously here a couple weeks ago and she signed it. So if you want to win this, all you got to do is go to iTunes, give us that 5-star review, or if you don't have an Apple product, you can easily give us a 5-star review in the comments below. And on finale night, we are going to announce, we're going to gather up all those 5-star reviews. Remember, it's got to be 5-star or else you're not eligible. And then we are going to announce it. Karla can pull it from a hat or a cloak, whatever. And then all you got to do
With my dagger.
Exactly. And then send us get us slide into our DMs and then send us your address and we'll ship it to you. And yeah, so all you got to do, 5-star review, and we love you because we want to give back to you guys because we love the show and we love you.
Ollie, you love those DMs.
I do.
Yes.
I love a good DM.
Also, shout out to Jazzy Jones. She says I like my she says she likes my spider suit. Thank you so much, girl. I love you.
We concur
Yeah.
Thank you,
heavily.
In the spirit of Endgame, obviously. But we got to get to predictions, y'all.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Yes.
What is happening? Who wants to go first? Because I don't even know what's going to happen.
Drew will.
She's been waiting.
The writer Drew.
She's been waiting. She's been
No,
waiting.
I don't think the girls are on drugs. I still think Papa Legba is the bad guy. I think he's incorporated with this somehow, but I think they're somehow manifesting the dark dimension and using that as sort of a way to drug the girls. I don't know how they're like using it, but I feel like that's what it is because we saw the girls where they all kind of were like hopeless. And yeah, so I feel like they're somehow using the dark dimension force to like put them in this like weird state.
Okay.
Ooh, I think I got a prediction. I think that, jumping off of what you said, I think that Tyrone is actually going to come in there and be like, okay, so if they don't have hopes, they obviously have fears. And that's when he's going to go like in there and try and figure out, and maybe he'll find some answers by checking out what their fears are.
Yeah, if anything good came out of Tandy setting him up, I think it's that he saw Leah. So now he'll go to her once he realizes Tandy's not found. And then hopefully he'll do the checkup on what her fears are.
Yeah.
But Drew just blew my mind because it does have to tie in with what we saw in the Dark Dimension with all the albums
Yes.
of the women.
Yes.
What?
I was going to say, I saw that there's an episode coming up called Side B, and because Tandy, we saw her do Side A, and when she was in the Dark Force Dimension, I'm kind of hoping that means we get to see Ty going to the Dark Force Dimension, and
That would be a
maybe
first.
he'll get to kind of like unpackage whatever's going on in a different light since like he's more belonging in there.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to leave it alone now.
Wow.
sorry.
Just going to drop that right there.
Yeah, it's like, take back my prediction.
We're all wrong except Drew on
No.
this panel.
It's not true.
Dude, I don't know what's gonna happen. I think somehow Ty's going to like save Tandy, but I think somehow that's going to backfire, at least from judging. If you guys saw that promo, I was heavily confused as to what happened, but
I think it's all an illusion.
I don't know. I don't know, y'all. But I wonder if Roxanne still has some kind of tie to it. Unless, is Roxanne just dead? Is that just gone? I don't know. I should just be fired.
Never.
I'm also kind of tripping out because what we saw was Tandy's hopes, and that was interesting. We didn't touch on that too much because what we saw was that her family was together with Tyrone's family, and her dad was actually there, which is also hypocritical to what she's telling her mom, because even she wanted to see the best in her dad. But it makes me wonder, like, what is going to be real, because I know you guys probably saw the preview for next episode. That's what's tripping me out about predictions, because everything seemed like we don't know what's real or what's her hopes and what's the
Freeform's doing such a good job of like giving us little teasers here and there and just really confusing us.
Because the Dark Force dimension also has caused people to hallucinate and like see things that aren't there and like kind of do exactly what the promo for next week looked like. So that's I feel like that's why I think.
Last thing, I'm just wondering what Ty's mom's reaction is going to be with Connor's being like, you know, Connor's killed her son, so I wonder what her reaction is. Is it going to be different than Ty's father's reaction, you know? So
she saw him, didn't? Yeah,
she did, but I wonder like how she's wants to handle that situation.
She's going straight legislation. I feel like she's throwing down the gavel. That's why I think Ty brought him to her, because he said something like, I know who can bring you justice. Yeah. Who can bring the justice to you. Last comment in the chat, Nicholas Kelly came up with this interesting prediction. Do you guys think that the entity that posed as little Tyrone was actually Predator, the several millennia years old demon from the Dark Force dimension?
I thought
possibly. I mean, he said that he had many names.
Yeah.
He did identify him. The only reason I keep saying Papa Legba is because he did identify himself as him. Yeah. But I mean, I could see them kind of like collaborating the two, and so
they do that.
Yeah. So
interesting. Well, let us know your predictions. If you're not joining us in the live chat, give us the predictions in the comments, gosh darn
or in
it.
the DMs.
Gosh darn it. Or in the DMs. Until then, we gotta wrap up. It's that time, unfortunately. Where can we find my lovely panel on social media?
You guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Karla Beltran. You can follow me on Instagram at I am Karla Beltran.
And I'm Drew Jones. You guys can fly into the DMs and talk about in-game with me at OKDrewJ.
Fly into the DMs. You got an upgrade. I'll meet you there on my broomstick. I'm Steph Sabraw, a.k.a. The Witch. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Steph Sabraw.
Yes, and I'm your host, Ollie Drennan. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ollie Dreamer. Until then, we love you. We'll see you next week, and enjoy Endgame.
Ciao.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.